Hello, dear viewers. Welcome yet again to another episode of An Immigrant's Journey in Finland. We are very delighted today to host the show, and it's been an amazing journey so far. We've had really wonderful guests on the show. We've had the likes of LJ, Georgiana Forsyth, Rejiro San, um, Teresa Bilola, and a very really great host of guests here on the show. And today again, we are saying welcome to yet another episode, this number 6 episode of this show. And today we have really brilliant guests on our list, and we'll be introducing them shortly. But first, let me introduce to you my co-host, the Betong, our network guru. Welcome.
I it's good to always be yes. Thank you.
It's always like I'm always so excited when it's time for this show, so I get to see your smiley face. When you
Oh,
enter the
come
room,
on.
you kind of
Yeah.
steal the show with your smiles.
And so it's always awesome to have you here as well. Like the spirit, your the mindset, and like everything is just awesome. And hearing from these viewers, that's always I mean from our guests, that's always been awesome so far.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Debetong, I don't know, like, what about you? Like, could you imagine that at this time we'll be hosting like the 6th episode of this show? Like, what's your impression at this point in time? What do you think? Like, how far we've
Wow,
come?
it's like wow, this all is something like a dream, and here we are, 6 episode. I can say it's just the guests, the viewers, they have been the one pushing us, far so like pushing us like towards this period in time, and it's really been a wonderful journey so far. Learning from different guests, their experience, the diversity, everything has been really like really cool. So I can't wait to see what is in store for us today.
Oh, wow. Me too. I am so excited to see what is in store for us today. We have like a really brilliant guest on our list today. Today we are having with us two spectacular ladies. They are different and they are unique in their fields of
I love that
specialization.
word
They are
spectacular.
different. Yeah, yeah, they are spectacular ladies. They are also very unique in their journeys as immigrants in Finland. And we are here today to listen to them, to get inspired by their story. They will tell us how they came here, what drove them, what was the drive that brought them to Finland, and how the journey has been so far. So join me and the Betong to welcome on the show Mariam Olalekan Shodeinde. So for just not, I don't get it wrong, I would just address her as Mariam.
Welcome,
Welcome, Mariam.
Mariam.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for asking me and for having me. It's an honor to be invited to join your wonderful program.
Oh, thank you. We are so happy to have you. And just a short intro about Mariam. Mariam is the Chief Growth Officer at Clans Group. Clans Group is a Finnish company which, to the best of my knowledge, offers digital services in the field of education. So, but Mariam is going to tell us more about herself in a while. And second on our list is the gorgeous Emiliene Grace.
The year of that woman.
Ah, Emiliene Grace, the woman of valor. She's here again with us. We are never tired of having her on the show. So, welcome, Emiliene Grace.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, debater. It's always an honor to be here.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. We are delighted to have you. We are happy to have you. And short about Emiliene Grace. Emiliene Grace is the CEO and founder of ThatNameWoman. an organization that fosters the growth of women. Emiliene's favorite quote is stop existing and live. Like she basically lives by that quote. And I must confess, like, yeah, she's actually drawn me to that herself. And I see myself doing that every other day in my life. So, guys, these are our guests for today, and we are here to listen to their stories, to hear them inspire us, and I hope that you are going to be inspired by their stories. So, first, I will let them introduce themselves. I might not have done quite much introducing them. I think there is a lot more they want to tell you about themselves, what they do. So I will start with Emiliene Grace. So Emiliene Grace, tell us, who are you? How would you describe yourself? What you do? What are your life's values? And just everything about you.
Oh, wow. That's a big one. That's a big one, but I'll try. Actually, I think I am confident to address myself as a woman of influence. I'm a woman of power because I've learned to change pain into power. I'm a woman of patience. I'm a woman of faith. And again, I'm obedient. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a wife. I'm a friend.
Oh.
And above all, I'm a loving mother that I know. I'm a loving mother.
Wow, I feel adoptable now.
Oh, yes. What a powerful introduction. What a powerful introduction. Like basically you can make someone go lean with that kind of, power in you. And I must confess to what everything that you've said is just the truth, because I'm an eyewitness to you and your life, which inspires me so much. And thank you again once more for having you on the show. So, Mariam, now over to you. Tell us, who is Mariam? Who are you? How would you say? Who will you say you are, and some things that you live by in life?
Yeah, I don't think that anyone can follow Emiliene Grace's introduction. We're all going to pale in comparison. My name is Mariam, and I work in education technology, and I'm a business operator and strategy sort of expert. And I've lived here for, well, quite a while now. I think Christabel and I have known each other for as long as I've lived here.
Yeah.
At least, we both
Yes.
probably moved here around the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, there's some fun history there.
Yeah, real fun.
Yeah. And so what are the things that I live by? I think that there's a mission that I live by, and then there's sort of the core tenets of how I live. And the main mission that I live by is to do meaningful work and to inspire others to dream big, and help them to find the opportunity and the sort of resources to reach those dreams. So I would say those are my that's the vision that I live for in every area of my life. And sort of my core principle in life is honesty with kindness. So always tell the truth and be honest, but balance it out with kindness, because we can take honesty as a opportunity to be assholes. So it's sort of like it's important to tell people the truth, because the truth helps them to develop. The truth helps me to develop if someone tells me the truth. But also you have to remember to be kind in the way that you share this, because the way that you share something goes a long way to determine how the person hears it. and what kind of actions they can take with that information. Yeah, so that's sort of my introduction.
Oh, wow, Debeton. What would you say? What would you say? This is powerful. I can't stand that. You know, these two ladies are just so powerful.
I'm literally shaking. It's like I'm in a tsunami. It's like I'll be wiped out by their minds, you know. Yeah, hearing a woman of valor. I mean, a mother, a sister, a CEO, the founder. You know, like it's like we are just here to lean behind them and say like, let's go. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
that's the beauty of it because we love to uplift people. We love to see people grow. We are happy to celebrate you guys here, what you do, and because we believe that people were here watching, you know, living in Finland or want to come to Finland or somewhere else in the world who might gain inspiration from your story or your life experiences here in Finland. So we are always excited having you guys here.
yeah. That's great. Mariam, you and I have known each other like you just mentioned, like for how long? I don't know. And back then, Mariam was a very outgoing, outspoken person, like she's doing now, actually. So, Mariam, just maybe a personal question: is there anything that has changed about you, given your maybe your experience now in a professional life? Do you think that there is something that has changed a little bit about you from that time to now?
Of course, a lot has changed. A whole lot has changed. I've just been studying recently again. From 2018 till last year, I was doing a study in London, and so I was going back and forth between Helsinki and London throughout that 2-year period. And yesterday I had a meeting with our former CEO and actually one of the owners of our company, Clannad. So we had a virtual coffee and we were talking, and she was saying about how different I am from 2 years ago, like such a big change. And I was studying for 2 years, and another of my colleague went to study for 1 year. And she was saying that, you know, that I always saw that you had great idea, and both of you were so talented. And you had a great mind and vision and, you know, very professional, but somehow that she felt that we held ourselves back and we felt a bit insecure in going fully forward in sort of our own vision and having that confidence. And she was saying that just this short period of study and we're completely different people from the ones who went into the program. Somehow being in that environment, that very sort of highly competitive learning environment with, you know, in some of the top schools with really brilliant minds, some of them former prime ministers and Nobel laureates. In the case of my colleague and you know, World Economic Forum speakers, just the fact that we have been in that space and, you know, we've had ideas that have challenged their own. We've had ideas that, you know, they have looked at us and said, well, you know, that's brilliant. We're going to do that. This is that gave us that confidence to sort of transform fully. So obviously, I mean, this is a study of 2 years, and you and I knew each other back when 2008. So certainly a lot has changed. A lot of learning, a lot of new information, and a lot of failures, a lot of new trials, opportunities, and like highs and lows and so forth. So yeah, quite a bit has changed.
Yeah, of course, I would suppose that has happened. So, but you've mentioned really important something which we'll come back to it. So, over to my power woman, Emiliene Grace. Um, Now I want you to tell us about your journey in Finland, like the very beginning, how you came to Finland, what brought you to Finland, and what has happened with you over this, certain period of time that you have grown to this person that you are.
Oh, wow. There is always the start to every story. And Finland, Finland became home to me in 2006. Back in those days, I felt I was the one who could like turn my family tree. So after being refused visas to travel to the countries we all wanted to go to, I sat in a cyber cafe in Yaoundé, Bonamusadi, with my humble friend, Dr. Kuba, who lives in Sweden. And he said, Imikoko, why not try Finland? I'm like, what? He said, Finland. By then, I've already told my boss in the Ministry of Higher Education that I'm traveling because I was so confident I would get a visa. And it didn't come right. I needed a turn. I said, I don't know anything about Finland. And he said, it's besides Sweden, it's this, it's that. So I visited Google and learned a little bit about Finland. Good thing I had the qualification needed. And there was this master's program in Rovaniemi in corporate law. So I tried applying. And bam, I had to go to the embassy.
Wow.
Out of Cameroon. I didn't have the money for the flight ticket, so I had to go by the buses for the subways. And that's when it all started. My perspective changed. I met one guy, he's a very good friend. He still lives in Finland with his family. We met in the Malfi Park. Yeah, we realized we are all landed. We're just with these business ladies in that car. And as we journeyed along, we became friends. I said my perspective changed because we went into an hotel room. We booked in like couples. When we realized that we were going for the same project, the same purpose. And money used to be an issue back then. We booked in, but still we were skeptical. We got into the hotel room. We needed to break the ice. I started talking about my boyfriend then. He started talking about his girlfriend then. We realized we needed to sleep on the same bed. Sentiments, no emotions. We had a very deep, long conversation and told each other good night. But as a university student who I was like,
Oh, the alertness, very alert.
I realized there are still decent guys out there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We kept contacts. We all had the visas on the same day. And I'm going to Finland where I knew nobody. I was hooked up with another guy. Got to Finland, I had to stay with this guy I've never known in his student room on the same bed for days.
Wow.
Before going over to Rovaniemi. My perspective changed. that sometimes you have to think differently and act differently. And if you have, you need to give. And if you learn, you need to teach. To cut the long story short, the cultural shock was massive. It all started with what they will call the honeymoon stage. I was excited to see snow for the first time. I was excited to see the place very clean and bright. I was excited to be able to buy an apple, what we used to call in Yaoundé, pomme de France. Wow. Like, yes, this is it.
Oh.
I moved over to Rovaniemi. The frustration stage came in. The frustration stage where you go out, the temperature is 39 degrees and blood starts oozing from your nostrils. I went to my dean and I said, I think now I'm homesick. I need to go home. He used to be a Nigerian Cameroonian dad, but he has lived in Finland for 33 years by then. He will encourage us and tell us it's going to be better. I said, I'm going to the hospital. He said, you don't need to. I'm like, this is blood. He said, it's all right. You'll be fine.
Yes, you thought in Gambia is witchcraft.
Yeah, the frustration was building. Rovaniemi, everybody knows how cold it was. Didn't even have the money to be paying the buses who walk for a distance of 1 hour, and you think you're dying. And now when weekend comes, those international students, they're like, we have a party. For example, Mariam will say, we have a party. And you're getting ready, that you're going to party, and they tell you, bring your drinks, bring your popcorn, bring your... I'm like...
I don't know about this. It doesn't happen like this.
How can you remind me that I need to come with my drink? Come with everything I'm going to eat? All that frustration kept mounting. And all of a sudden, I realized I need the adjustment. You get into a bus, it's full. You look at a vulnerable person, you offer them a chair, and they even get angry. I'm like, that's what I knew growing up. But I realized a lot has changed. I started making the adjustment. I started telling myself sometimes, no, I don't need to give them the chair because they will not appreciate it. They will instead think I'm looking them to be weak. Okay, it's getting better. I realize I need to accept that this whole new thing is new. I need to let go of my ego. I need to learn from the people who have been there before me. Through my circle of friends, I came across these pathfinders, these bulldozers, those people who made living in Finland look so natural. And again, Emiliene Grace is an open-minded person. So I think I tried to interact. So I cannot even talk about my coming to Finland and progressing without giving credit to some certain people, like Pa Angela, like Neil Louise, people like Dr. Justin, is it Bededi, sorry, I don't know his real name, Mervyn Ngwase, Emma Atamaka, Dr. Bless Fonsi, and some more. Maju, those people made me, Emiliene, realize that I already have a crown fixed. I just need to wear it on.
Right.
Because we all know someone has to always go first. And if you go to a place, it's your responsibility, if you want to grow, to realize those people and see how they work. I aligned myself to that group of people.
Wow.
And I learned how to move on. I think I will let Mariam talk a bit. I can talk about that for it. There are people you got credits to.
Yes.
Some people, your journey will not be complete if you don't mention that they have fixed that crown for you to wear.
Yeah, that's very correct. Obviously, there are people that came here before us and they sort of prepared the way, they paved the way for us to come through and make life easy for us, like orientate us to the right, to making the right decisions and the right paths for us. So, Mariam, we'll be pleased to hear a little bit of your journey, how you came to Finland, why you came to Finland, and how it's been so far. Maybe some challenges you faced and how you overcame these challenges.
Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. The official anthem of 2020. You're on mute. Yeah. I think once again, I'm sort of like my story is going to pale a great deal in comparison to Grace's. It's quite interesting that you've also been in Rovaniemi, because that's where Christabel and I know each other from the time studying in Rovaniemi. And you are very right, very cold, very long distances, and quite literally no money for the bus. And even when I couldn't ride a bicycle, so it was a whole disaster. You know, like an hour to walk from the city. I don't know, Grace, what part of Rovaniemi you lived in, but to go from the city to Väylätie, where Christabel and I used to live, was quite literally an hour's walk.
Yeah.
It was.
Mariam, I don't wish to make those kind of journeys ever. It's crazy. I literally cried. I cried every single time I made that walk. Every single time.
Yeah. You're right. Those were the days back then. But I think that I was also quite fortunate. We had very close group of other Nigerians, especially who lived right next door to me. So it was sort of easy to form a community. And I don't know if Christabel, you had that, because you were in the business school and I was in the technology school. So what happened? What we got was our class head of class, so that teacher who's like the supervisor of your group. So he knew this one lady who was and they were Christian. Her name was Anneli. She was a retired teacher. And we were about 30 to 50 people in our group at the time. I don't remember exactly. There were two of us girls, me and another girl from Ethiopia, and then there was most of the class were Ethiopian, and then 3 other Nigerian guys. And she basically just adopted all of us. And I remember that she organized all manners of programs to raise funds for us. And we had, for the lunch, we had this lunch coupons. Lunch at the time was like €2.60 or something. And they raised enough money that we had all of us, 30 to 50 of us, had lunch coupons for a year. There were people who had like got that lunch coupons even for longer. And she also made arrangements with the supermarkets in the area that we could pick up leftover food, leftover groceries. There was a lot of macaroni in there. So people ate a lot of macaroni. But it was really great because at the time there were people who had no jobs, who were barely paying rent, and that food that was provided was quite literally the only thing that people had. And she, one day, in the early winter, she just took us around the city. This tiny Finnish woman and this like large group of Black people walking around the city in Rovaniemi and going into secondhand stores. She had called them ahead of time. And so we went there with her to pick up winter jackets and shoes and things like that. Because obviously, you don't really know how cold it's going to be in Rovaniemi, and winter clothes were super expensive. So she had made arrangement that we could come there to those secondhand stores and get the clothes, and everyone just picked what they needed. And I don't know how she took care of the payment or anything. It was just, open shop. And after that, she took us around different hotels. And she was basically like, all right, here's a hotel. Christmas is coming. You need workers. Here are workers. I mean, it was so funny. And like, I remember the first hotel we went, and the guy was like, yeah, who has the hygiene pass here? And I had the hygiene pass. So I was like, okay, and he's like, all right, you're going to work in the kitchen. And it's like, I'll take 2. They're going to work in the housekeeping. I mean, it was wild. And she made arrangement with more of her church friends. We had like Christmas parties together, and they would like bake things and knead things and do a raffle draw to raise money for us. She also made arrangement, like, during the Christmas parties, we will be talking with different other retired people. And I remembered this one family, they're couple, and they're retired and their kids are out of home and so forth. So they made an arrangement that I would be coming to help clean their house once a week. And they would come pick me up from school. So the wife would come pick me up from school, or the husband. And by the time we get to the house, the one that is at the house had made a lunch spread,
Oh.
and we would eat lunch, and then we would clean together. And it wasn't really we would clean together.
Mariam.
Yeah, I mean, the stories are wild. When we would finish cleaning, then she was a retired judge. So she would make a little envelope like, all right, and write it down like, this is your salary from this cleaning. And she paid just under the minimum wage so that I didn't have to file for taxes on the income. And so she would make it official and write it down and the total and hand it to me. And then after she would bring me another envelope, like €50. All right, here's another and she would drive me back home. Sadly, it's only much later that I realized that they were just looking for companionship. So they weren't really looking for someone to do anything for them. They just liked that they had something to look forward to every Friday. This girl that they would come pick up. And I wished, I was a bit slow. I wished I had realized that at the time, and I would have made more effort, to also do something for them, to spend maybe a bit more time with them and do a bit more things with them, especially with, being a retired couple with their kids in the big city and so forth. So we were very fortunate in the engineering school. Christabel, I don't think you had this in the business school.
No, we didn't have all of this, and it's really like a surprise that you had all these benefits going on around you, and we had no idea.
Oh no!
And
oh gosh, we lost Christabel.
We lost Christabel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been an exciting story so far.
Yeah,
Continue.
it was an exciting time, and we still talk very much. She later moved to Oulu. This Anneli, and one of our former classmates who lives in Oulu still, like, has gone to visit her. And we've also sort of thought about an idea that maybe we could do a reunion with her just to thank her for the great work and the great thought, because it was really phenomenal. All of the things, we barely lacked anything during those time of living there. So that was sort of the start. And we were a very lucky group, so to speak, in the way that we landed in Finland. And then, of course, moving down south here and experiencing all that ups and downs, and trying to find a career path, and entering to work, as you know, in Finland can be quite challenging, especially so for immigrants. So that's a whole other story. I don't know if you want to hear about that now, or maybe I'll just.
We want to hear about it. That's the title is Immigrant's Journey in Finland. So of course we want to hear about it.
All right. I've been talking for quite a long time, so I'm also aware that this is like a group discussion.
But anyway, we're gonna come to that anyways. But of course, part of it is like your journey, and the immigration stuff is something we are gonna like focus on. But so far, I've been really like wow to listen to you guys. Share your experience, like coming to Finland, the culture, the environment, everything is kind of like new. You have to adapt yourself to a new environment, a new reality. And this is what most people are facing now. So it might be your journey back then, but it's someone's journey right now. Right now, in the beginning, and they need to know that people have been there, before, so they can really go back and like, okay, I can do this as well. But let's go move forward. Let me just appreciate the viewers here for today, guys. Thanks for joining us to this the sixth episode of the Immigrant's Journey in Finland. Our guest today is Mariam and Emiliene Grace, and so far they have been sharing with us their experiences living in Finland. And we listen for what Emiliene Grace mentioned, a journey back then from Cameroon, Yaoundé, until when she arrived Finland. And Mariam has been like commenting on her experience also in Rovaniemi and everything, how it was like the challenge, and also what she benefited from there. So, guys, Lionel, Rahe, thanks for Pernilla, Rita, Dr. Teresia, I can see you, Raham, Nicole, Ojong, yeah, Nicole, Ojong, guys, you guys should share this content to your networks. There might be someone there who is willing to listen to either of these amazing ladies here to get inspiration. Now let's get to immigration. So, Emily and Grace, when you hear the word immigration in Finland, what pops out in your mind? Unmute. Let me unmute you. Okay, now.
If you say immigration, I remember the scenario where they took my passport because I had a UK visa that was still valid, and my visa in Finland was left 2 months. So they took my passport, maybe thinking I might want to go and seek asylum out of Finland. The thought of it still gives me butterflies in my belly. As I said, I went to Rovaniemi. I was doing a master's program in law, and we were paying the tuition fee. It wasn't easy. We paid part of it, and the coming installment was challenging. I was going back and forth, Rovaniemi, Helsinki, to do my dishwashing. That's the job I had, and I was so proud of it because it could pay my bills. And the way things happen, I fell in love, and I relocated to Helsinki. And now I stopped going to school for a while, and my visa became shaky.
Oh,
Just to get it clear, it was falling in love the reason why you stopped going to school.
One I had problems in Helsinki. One way or the other, I can hear.
Christabel, can you mute? Oh yeah, you can talk now.
One way or the other, I had comfort from Helsinki. I could make some money while washing dishes in Helsinki. And at that moment, I thought the only thing that can bring you money is when you switch into nursing. So I saw nothing about continuing with my master's program in law. So there were a whole lot of things that made me to stop the master's program. Of course, one was love. One was wanting more money. So I came, I was getting the money, I was getting the love. But the visa was almost gone. God being so faithful. When you own your power, everything falls in place. I had an opportunity to go with a paper, palm to the immigration and say, I have this to renew my visa. That's why there are some people you can't talk about your story without mentioning them. They know themselves, and I can say thank you to them. It was challenging to see your visa remaining less than 2 months and to know that you have a valid UK visa and you don't have your passport to board the next flight and leave. It was challenging, but we'll never let our insecurities bring us down. Everything went the way it had to go. And I had the papers from that same immigration. And didn't end there. I still had other documents to take to them and say, now, I need a citizenship. That's determination. If you have a plan, nothing can bring you down, even immigration.
Wow. I love that. If you have your plan, nothing can bring you down, even immigration, not even yourself can bring yourself down. So, Maria, what do you think? Earlier before you wanted to mention something about immigration, and you like laugh, like, okay, now we have got into the position where we have to, tight fasten our belts, to listen well before shaking. So, what can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly very challenging. I think that story is quite a common one, especially when you land in a place like Rovaniemi. So everyone wants to, the next best thing is to move down south, to move to Helsinki to look for work. And in some cases, love as well. And yeah, it's very easy for that original degree to fall by the wayside. And unfortunately, one can spend many years in that limbo, not having anything concrete in hand, because the cleaning is great. And I remember that back then, cleaning was a prize. To get a cleaning job was a prize, was a real win, or to get a dishwashing job was a real win. because I remember at that time there was a company. I don't know how long you've all lived here, but there used to be a company called Capital. And they were in the city center of Helsinki, and you would go queue there from 6 a.m. Some people were standing in line from 6 a.m. there. They opened at about 8 o'clock or something like that. So that when you got in, they could give you a 4-hour shift for the day, or a 6-hour shift for the day, or 8-hour shifts for the day. And money doesn't stay in the end. It's so little, and every day is so desperate that one can't really plan for anything in advance. So one does end up spending all that money on keeping up your bus ticket and paying rent to wherever it is you're living in Helsinki. So you have nothing to save, and school starts becoming very hard to go back to. And the next option is, maybe I should go into nursing. And then, oh my gosh, there's only 2 months left on my resident permit. And then you start running from pillar to pole, because you have to try to get the papers from school to make sure that they're not going to, put a mark on your paper that you're non-attending, even though one has in fact not been attending. And at the same time, I think at that time, I am sure that it's still the same now. You had to have something. Then it was 6,000 euros in your account. So you never saved even nearly that much. Not even close. So it becomes a rat race of panic and running around. So what really is the solution? Solution to this? I think it's a trap that is very, very easy to come into. But one does find a way to escape it. I think in many sense, for the most part, people end up in the nursing school, because it's like, all right, the nursing school is in Helsinki, so I can work and I can go to this nursing school. And nursing at the time was like, hey, if you're studying like already a year, you can start working. So that's the victory lap that you start to look forward to. But at the time, I was very against that plan of following that path. And I had the studies going on in Rovaniemi, and I really did want to finish it. But I also myself spent about a year in Helsinki in that merry-go-round. Until finally, just, one day I just decided that, that's it. Whatever money I had left saved up, I was going to go back and I was going to go try to finish the studies. And then after that, I will see if I'm able to come back to Helsinki and get work, or apply for a master's degree so that I can renew my residence permit per immigration requirement. And at the time, I was working still at that Capital. But what was interesting was, for the time when I went back to Rovaniemi, in Christabel's campus, they had a tourism degree. So I had that hygiene pass, but then I also took this alcohol license exam. So when I was in Helsinki, so it meant that I could work in more different types of restaurants, but even at the time, I couldn't even work as a waiter, even though that's the paper you need to be able to work as a waiter, because it means you can serve drinks at dinner and things like that. And I could only get work as a waiter assistant. Can you imagine that there is such a job? There is such a role as a waiter assistant. So you don't get to talk to the people. You're the one who just cleans the table, prepares the table, help to bring out the food, just wash the cups, any stuff that the waiters don't have time to do. You're the one who's doing it. So and so because there were few people who had that alcohol license, so that Capital company, they were able to offer me a permanent contract. So I thought, all right, I have this permanent contract. I'll go and finish school. Then I'll use this paper to renew my permit. And then, because of the very not smart person that I was, so I went to them and I told them that, hey, I'm going back to school to wrap up my degree program. And I know that you have customers there. So maybe I could get work there in Rovaniemi. And so the guy told me that, come to the office and bring the contract with you. I came to the office that day and, sat with him, and he was just like, all right, so where's the contract? That's the permanent contract. And I was like, oh, here it is. And he just took it back. Took it back from me. And then he brought me a new contract, which is like open contract.
Wow.
And without any explanation, he was just like, all right, give me. He just took it. It just went away. And he was just like, okay, here's your new contract now, because we don't have work for you anymore. He was like quite a big Finnish guy, and he just gave me that, and I was just like, oh God, I really screwed up now, haven't I? But I am also a person of faith. So I went back to Rovaniemi, I didn't have an apartment. I didn't have much savings. I didn't have a job, anything. And I remember that there was one couple from Kenya that I was going to stay with. I had agreed with them that I will stay with them and pay a little bit of rent. And I think a week before I was supposed to go, they just called me and said, well, we don't think we're going to take you anymore. So I arrived in Rovaniemi with no place to live.
Oh, guys.
And I called a friend of mine who was there. So remember that hotel I told you in the beginning that I got work at? One of my friends was still working there by this point. So he told me that, hey, they have this mini apartment that they rent out to people who come to ski, that, I could spend the night there. And I remember I got there and he brought me the keys, completely empty, no furnishings, nothing in that place. I don't even think the toilet was working. It was completely empty. No blanket was even a dream. So I had to take the window blind. So those blinds that are like little blades that you can, twist and open or pull up. So that was what was there. So I took that, and that was the thing that I put on the floor to sleep on, and used my jacket as a little blanket to cover myself. And and after the next morning I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Should I have stayed in this race in Helsinki with the cleaning work and continue, and I was so sad. And I went to Vaulatier, where we used to live, to ask them that, hey, do they have any apartment? Because the guy who was the caretaker, I know him from the Pentecostal church there. So I thought, from church, maybe he has something. And he was like, no, they don't have anything. So, the whole day, by evening, I still had no place to stay. So that my friend told me, like, you know what, you could come spend the night. He'll see if he can talk to his boss if they had any rooms free that I could stay in. So by the next morning, they had a room free at the hotel. It was also not in the main block of the hotel. It was also one house on the side. So it didn't have a bathroom. It had only a little toilet. I don't even think it had a fridge, or it didn't have an oven. So, but they were like, you could stay here. And the price they offered, it was also quite reasonable. And I was just like, hallelujah. So I stayed there. And to take a shower, I have to come out of the house and then go to the sauna in the other side of the building. Wow. To take a shower. And then, well, you got the house and it's like, okay, where's the money to pay for the house? And I was expecting one final salary from Helsinki. So then I was desperately going around looking for a job. I was knocking every restaurant, every hotel. I went to the first hotel. I went to the Skandick Hotel. That was the first one I went. The guy was super nice. And he said, if we have something, we'll let you know, which is typically the don't ever come back type of message. So, and after that, I kept going everywhere. And one day I was coming from school, I was walking and I was just crying, and I was crying like, oh my God, How am I going to pay this rent for this place that I just took? I don't have any job. I don't know how much is coming from Helsinki. My final salary, it could be like 100 euro. It could be 200 euros. I don't even know. And I was crying, and I just felt the Holy Spirit just spoke to me. And he was like, oh, why are you crying? Like, I could feel the Lord was like annoyed with me. Like, can you, like if you have a child and it's like, stop whining. What is it? And I was like, I have all these problems and I don't have a job and I don't have money. And, and the Lord was like, okay, what do you want? And I remember I said, I want to get a job. The money that's come for Helsinki, I would like it to be at 500 euros. And the Lord was like, okay, that's all you want? And I was like, yeah, that's all I want. I was like, fine, okay, that's it. And I tell you, in about a week, they called me from that restaurant that I got the job. I got the job as a waiter at the Skandick Hotel in Rovaniemi. In that same week, I was in school when I got I checked my bank account. That all right, this salary came, and it was 49999.
Wow.
And I just started laughing in the class. I was just like, oh my Lord. So, and that's how, I was able to survive, like wrapping up my studies and then coming back to, and funny thing was that the job that I got there, so the hotel couldn't hire me directly. So they asked me to register with Staff Point. And so I registered with Staff Point and was able to start working there. And so when I moved back to Helsinki after completing the studies, the manager there called Staff Point in Helsinki and asked them to hire me. So I was able to get work back here in Helsinki because of his recommendation. So it's really, I would say, immigration is hard. Actually, one final detour there before I wrap this up is when I also moved back to Helsinki, because the Staff Point job was also not permanent, and my permit was like literally on the edge of finish. So I got a cleaning job. We were cleaning hotels, cleaning trains in Ilmala. So it was this like washing of the train that they do once a year also. And there they offered me a permanent job. So they offered me a permanent job, which was like a miracle. And they filled, the employer has to fill the paper also for the immigration. So they filled it all out and I had it in my hands and it was all ready. I was going to go submit it and things like that. And I booked the appointment to immigration. And then this workplace started to be disaster. So the work that 20 people used to do, they now cut it down to 5 people doing it. And the place became hell. They weren't paying people full income for the work. If you worked 15 hours, they would pay you for 8 hours. And it became horrible. And I have the immigration papers in my hand and I have to go and renew my permit. And then if you renew with that job, you have to stay in that job for at least a year so that they could then open it up. And it was like, this place is a living hell. Then I got sick and I got sick and they were supposed to pay the sick leave. And at that moment, I think they paid me for like every 2 weeks. And I ended up getting salary of 200 euros or something. It was abysmal. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I called on the Friday with the immigration paper and no other option. So I called on Friday and I told that I'm not gonna do this work anymore. I called my uncles who were abroad and they're like, what are you doing? Just stick with it for a year, so you don't have any other option. You have to renew your permits. Your studies is ending, so you don't have that anymore. You don't have a backup job. This is a permanent contract. This is full-time work. So I called and I said I was quitting. And the guy who was a supervisor was Nigerian. So he was like, he kind of begged me, like, don't quit. You also be smart. Don't be stupid. Come back on Monday. We'll make things better. So on Monday, when I went back, I was washing the floor of the train and that guy's boss was a very young Finnish lady, about my age, I think, at the time. And I was on the floor. I'll never forget. I was scrubbing the floor. And she just looked down at me on the floor like, "Hey, so you are back." And I was like, it was like the ground should open and swallow me. And I was just like, okay. And I just packed my bags and I just went home. I was like, whatever these papers are saying, I'm not doing again. Keep your papers. And so I called Staff Point back, with this that was my last resort. And then they told me that the manager from Rovaniemi had said really great words about my work. So then they offered me a contract, and they offered me work at another Skandick here in the city. And that's how I was able to renew my permit. So I think that immigration is tough, but God is tougher. That's sort of the thing that I want to, because I don't want to, like, I sort of took a bit more time. I'm sorry about that, just to show that everything has not been easy. I could skip many of these hard parts. Everything has not been easy, but God has been bigger and God has been greater. And anyone who is in it right now, to know that, God, if you trust in God and rely on God, and also make smart decisions. I wouldn't say that all my decisions were smart, but there were moments where I needed to take risk. I needed to take a risk that I will go back and I will complete the studies, because I cannot be in this rabbit loop anymore with this job that you can never save enough to get out of it. And I would not destroy my soul and my confidence in a job that I have to be a slave at, just to to get a residence permit. And God honored that, and God was merciful and kind to make that, in the end, everything worked out.
Wow, Christabel, are you enjoying this, or it's like I'm enjoying it to the fullest?
Drama.
So
you know.
unfortunately for me, like I've been having some technical issues and I've lost like a whole lot from Emiliene Grace and Mariam's story, and now I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
What am
I
I
mean,
doing?
you have to watch this later on, because
Yes, I have
like
to do
when
the replay.
Emilienne was talking, and then Mariam starts talking, my own story pop up, like, it was like I was going through my own journey at the same time, like, wow.
Yeah.
We can imagine, like what Mariam mentioned. Immigration might be tougher, your story might be tougher, but it might be tough, but God is tougher. And I can relate
Yeah.
with that. And I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mariam, one of the purpose, oh my God, why do I hear myself? The better for some reason, I don't know. I get to hear myself.
Is it okay
Um
now?
okay, I think it's okay now. Yeah, Mariam, your career journey as the Chief Growth Officer of Planet, like, can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you get to start working for this company? Are you a founder? Was it there? Were you employed? How did it happen? Because it's like it's normal news that it's really difficult to get a job like in your own profession in Finland. So like there just like a handful of foreigners who are able to do that. And so how did you do it? Like what tips, what did you do that made it possible for you that others can learn from and be able to follow suit?
And to add to that, Mariam, I think before you answer that question, how do you feel right now? You are a CEO. You are a female CEO. Looking at your story. So maybe you can begin from the day, that moment, that breakthrough before, boom.
Mm,
You know.
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think that I've been very, very blessed. I've been very, very blessed. Um, and God has been very good, because it's not every endeavor, every risk that you take that work out. And unfortunately, there haven't been many path makers in my field who have created that path that I could have copied. But I think things are changing now for a lot of people, and I have to say that pretty much similarly to what you, Christabel, have been doing now. Well, I know you a bit more, so that's why we use you as an example. It really starts with just, the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it. So it starts from there, or maybe even like a little bit. It starts from finding the right partners in life, the right partners who can nudge you to the right direction. I had a bit of after that workplace that I left, that was a disaster. It really impacted my self-esteem. It was really rough, that place. And there were mornings where I would be going there and I would be crying on the way there to that job. It was horrible. It was really, really horrible. And what makes the story even sadder is that the place where the Ilmala, where the trains are, is there's a bridge there by the train station. So because if you wanted to go to the place, it was such a long distance to walk down the length of the bridge and then go turn and try to go to the train park. So we had created a shortcut, which basically consisted of climbing with rope on the bridge. So there was a rope there that you would climb on the bridge so that you wouldn't go do the long turn, and just climbing that in winter and crying. It's really depressing. So it really damaged me, and it took a while. I think the first thing starts from the internal, like getting that mindset first, that I am better than this. I am better than this. Circumstances have made me. So I think that was the first step. And I had a partner who was really very like Christabel said, I was a certain type of person, and to then become that was very challenging for him to see, and he was like, this is not the person that I chose. Who is this? Who has this turned into? So he was really, really helpful in pushing me. He was really pushing me that you get up, you can do it. Like then at the time, those startup events were just beginning to start. So it's like, you should go there. You need to go there and meet people and see things and come out of your shell. Go to this Slush event, this Altoies event. I volunteered at Slush in 2013. It's like, you should go and volunteer there. You should, first time I went to their office, their startup sauna in Espoo at the time, I didn't know anybody and I was not sure of myself. And I ended up like, cleaning all the dishes there after, just to give myself something to do and to spend time there, and I remember one man was particularly very mean to me in the way that he spoke and the things that he said. But somehow it didn't affect me. It just, like, being in that atmosphere was just really motivating. So I started to be there and I started to volunteer for projects in that place, and volunteer. There was another Ethiopian girl who was organizing a musical hackathon, and Spotify was a sponsor. And she was like, hey, let's go put up posters together at the different campuses. We went from Espoo to the campus in Arabia and in the city, and just being busy, doing these little things, and then meeting people, talking about my ideas with other people, hearing their ideas, and then I realized, oh my God, this startup field, they speak all this lingo that I don't know, like what is bootstrapping? What is a VC round? What is a seed round? what is like scaling, what is a scale up, what is a growth company, all of this. And I bought books. The first book I bought was by Harry Quay's Lean Startup. So I bought that, reading it. Then I bought Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In. I bought a bunch of books at that time. I realized, all right, I need to learn this lingo so I can contribute to this discussion. And I was reading a ton. So whenever people were talking, I had ideas as well that I could suggest. And one event that I went to, then I was just telling, someone was saying, hey, we have this program. So I was saying that maybe you could do this program. Like we were talking about one program called Startup Life. They send students to Silicon Valley to work, like Finnish students from Finnish schools. And the university pays the cost of the lawyer and immigration and everything. And that Startup Life finds them the job. So I remember I was like, this program, it would be so nice if like students from other schools, like Rovaniemi, could participate, because at the time, that whole startup community was mostly of Aalto students. So I was like, I could bring other opinions that wasn't like Aalto idea that they would never think about. And that's the thing, that when you start putting yourself in that space, you soon discover that you have something to add that they don't know. You have a perspective to share that they don't know. But the first step is speaking a common language. So that means that you have to first learn the lingo of that space, so that you know how to bring your idea in a way that they understand it. Because speaking is communication. Speaking is like sharing something that somebody understands. So just saying it in the way that I know and them not understanding is not communicating. So and so like learning first how they speak, what they talk about. And so I was suggesting this, and not knowing that the guy who I was speaking to was the one who was running the program. So they ended up asking me at the time to join them in the program. And, we had a trip to Silicon Valley, which was like, whoa, oh my God. And, and it was like a week of 10 days, I think, of travel there. And they paid for the flights and accommodation, and and I applied for an American visa.
Wow.
Without any stress or anything. They didn't even ask me any question, because I had this official stamp from Aalto University saying I am their employee and going on this project. And even that was like confidence building. And I was meeting like Silicon Valley companies and talking with them and, reaching out to them. And even though this was not all rosy, it was very hard because I was very poor. I didn't have money. I didn't have Silicon Valley money. Even though they paid for my flights and accommodation, you still had to pay for food for 10 days, because in Helsinki, I make my list. This 50 euros is going to go this far. And now you're living in a hotel. And oh my gosh, it was, I was like making noodles in the like coffee pots in the hotel. And I remembered with the group, we took a trip to Napa Valley, which is the wine country in San Francisco. And we were coming back and we stopped at this burger place. It was late at night. And my God, I was starving. I had no money. And they were all ordering burgers. And they're like, Mariam, would you like some? I'm like,
You're not hungry.
I'm not hungry at all. What are you talking about? And like they're like, this is the best burger in the world, and they're eating their food, and you have to pretend like you're not hungry. And then they're like, oh, this person is not eating, we're eating. And they're like, would you like some? You can't take it because you already said you're not hungry. That's why you didn't buy your burgers. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. So, I'll never, anyway, how far the Lord has brought us. So that was sort of like, finding those spaces and participating in those activities. And so that's sort of how the journey started. And then when I left that community and that project, it was while I was there, my first real job was for a company called Funsi. So I was also talking to their CEO before they founded it. And he was sharing his ideas, and I was sharing my ideas. And so when they founded the company, he formed a group and said, can we work on a project for them? And we worked on the project, and somehow it didn't go well. So he sent an email that, all right, this was not going very well. We're going to wrap this up, and that'll be that. So I wrote him an email, and I was like, I am not accepting this decision from you to end this project, because I have spent my time working on it. So if you want to talk about how to move this forward, you know where to reach me. So then he just, he wrote me back and he said, let's have a meeting. So then he hired me into that startup that they had founded. And it was the first time when I had like a salary and a real job, and I could work from home, the whole time. And it was, and it was very hard when I was being part of these volunteer things, because you volunteer Monday to Friday, and the volunteership is almost like full-time job. And then I have to go to work from Friday to Sunday morning. So I have to take like I took shifts from Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I worked till 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. And then on Saturday again, I worked from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. Sunday morning. And the trick was that I have to take 3 shifts per day. So one place was 10 to 5, another was like 5:30 to 11, and another was from like around 11:15, 11:30 to 4 a.m. Because if I take one full shift in a place, when it's getting late and they realize that the customers are reducing, then they're like, who are we going to send home? So the one who has been working the longest is who they send home. I'm like, you're not helping me. I have calculated my money. I need this shit. So I would like go to 3 different places. So everywhere it would be like, I'm a new worker. And, I really got good at running, because if you have like 15 minutes to leave the first place, run out and run to the next shift in the other place, that was really wild. So it was not the easiest of time. It was very tough. And at one period, I was making only enough money to pay for food. So I didn't pay rent in my apartment for 4 months at a time. And this is the first time I knew you could owe rent for that much. Yes, you can. in Finland, because when you don't have money, they can't throw you out just like that. So you just keep begging, until you have money, and then you pay the rent. So that Outer Years project, they ended up paying me a project fee, which when they paid it, like it was in June. So I just paid all the rent that I owed with all of that money at that time. So getting into that first job was sort of the first thing. Then gradually from there, after I worked there for a few years, then I got into this job at Planet as well. And then I've been away from Planet for about a year. So I came back in October, and then getting into this new position. But the lessons in each of this transition, and there are many stories. We all have stories in between that, and it wasn't all smooth sailing. But the lessons there is really start reading, start volunteering, surround yourself with people who motivate you, who are going to push you that, hey, you can do better. You can do more. Don't settle. Go for better. And it takes a lot of sacrifice as well, because you're not, when people have invited you to their birthday or something 2 times and you've said no, no one will invite you to anything anymore. So you're not going to have friends anymore who invite you to things, because you are focused on this goal and this mission, and all your time is when you are having. Well, Christabel, you're doing the volunteering thing now, and you're trying to do a paid job on the side, and you're trying to get yourself known, and you're trying to like acquire new knowledge, and then go to school and network. How would you have time for like a social life? So you have to be ready to sacrifice some things. But in all things, God is good and God is faithful, and He will make all our endeavors to have good success.
Wow.
Amen to that. Amen to that, Mariam. Like listening to you, one can listen to you for the whole day and not get tired.
I think I should not be allowed to speak.
Yeah, I think
And,
we should have immigration in most of these programs so that they can listen how they empower
yeah,
most immigrants to become who they are today, because going through
yeah.
that difficult moment, it gives you that motivation always to one better.
Yeah, every challenge breeds opportunities, and if you're the tough one, definitely you'll be there to enjoy, the benefits of those challenges that you'll face. And going to Emilian Grace, I know Emilian Grace has just been waiting, sitting and waiting to say something. And you know what I'm about to say? That name woman, I don't know if she thought about it while I was away. Emily and Grace, can you tell us about that name woman? Where did your vision come from? Is it something personal? Was it something societal norms, or where did that name woman come from? And how has it been so far, the growth? Because I've seen it going places. Tell us about those achievements, accomplishments so far for your organization.
Yes, Madam CEO.
Thank you so very much. And from what Mariam has been saying, I totally agree that life has no remote. You need to get up and change what needs changing. Thank you, Mariam, for that encouragement. As we all know, we need to be able to rise from your fear to freedom. That can only happen when you know your purpose. It doesn't matter where you are, in Finland, in Cameroon, or anywhere else. What you need to do is align to your purpose, because life is all about transformation. You need to be renewed. So, as we heard before, I am Emiliene Grace, for those who are seeing me for the first time, and I am the CEO and founder of ThatNameWoman.
That's what I
The
was
vision,
waiting to listen to hear from you.
the vision is so dear to my heart. And if you hear that name woman, a lot of people ask the question, what's it all about? That name woman is a registered organization, and what we do is we inspire, we transform, and we educate women to build back their confidence and self-esteem, especially those who have gone through adversities and those who are still going through that. What I, for one, do is when a woman comes to me or is being referred to me by somebody, about their challenges, because the way God works, He teaches you and you need to be a bridge. I think I said it at the beginning that when you learn, you teach. I went in a place of solitude, and what I learned was to be able to tap within me and use my God given potentials to thrive. That's why I'm happy today to say, when they say, where do you work? Who are you? I'm like, I work for humanity, because I've decided to get women from the place of being stuck, from a place of being hopeless to the place of power. And some people say, how do you do that? Purpose can only be explained by you being able to give something to your world. So to me, my job, as I work on the ThatNameWoman, yes, I get paid. So I can say I am an entrepreneur because I'm using my purpose to get paid for. We all have that and we need to use it. When a woman comes to me, what I do is I help them to reset their minds. I help them to stand as an accountability partner I help them to be able to train their thought muscles because everything you do starts with the mind. That's why people who know me will always hear me say, be renewed and transformed. I'm a woman of faith, a very, very big one, of course. That's why my faith is everything. And no obstacle, no challenge can ever come in between my faith because my faith gave me hope, my faith gave me peace, my faith gave me forgiveness, my faith gave everything I preach. So no matter what happens, I am framed by that. So when I get women, if it's one-to-one or in group discussions, what I do is I use emotional intelligence. I help them to transform their minds by letting them tap within them. That's where the strength to survive challenges lies. Nobody can do it for you. You have everything it takes. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know that. So as I said, I'm your accountability partner, and I help you to remind yourself that you need to tap within, because I have faced those challenges and I'm still battling some of the shadows, but still I still need to go time after time within me and create the who I want to be. That's what got me out of my ordeals. And I told myself, no woman I know has to go through adversities and be the same. That challenge, that adversity is just part of your story. It's not you. You are still valuable. You have a lot to give into your world. That's how purpose has been explained. As of now, with ThatNameWoman, it started far away, 2014 in Finland. And I thank God for those who walk the vision with me. But with life, when you think that you have gotten to another level, you need to upgrade your talents and give and move to the next level. I thought I couldn't achieve what I had or what I was aiming at, because it's your responsibility as a human being to visualize your life. What you envisage, visualize it and move. But it needs determination. It needs courage. I started a vision, ThatNameWoman. I did things informally. I realized that my thoughts were bigger than what I could get in the place I called home at that moment. I decided to move to where I thought I'll be able to give in my best. God being faithful, I moved from where I called home. Not that it wasn't home anymore, but because when you realize that your goals, the goals you have attained, they don't line up anymore with your purpose, you need to adjust those goals. You need to shift. If you need shifting, you need to move. Life is a continuous journey because like standing water, it will stink if it doesn't move. I needed courage. And what does Stephen Harvey says? Steve says, when you move and you need to start again, you need to start with your experiences and not starting from the scratch. I took all the experiences I learned through my journey in Finland and moved over to a place I call home, England. They used to say there are things you don't tell people until it happens. That's why I will not stand here to discourage people living in Finland or discourage people who have moved away from Finland. What matters is the dynamics and how you do it. That's how you get the results. I moved over to Finland because I had put the vision before God. As I said earlier, my life is framed by my faith. Everything that I brought God in the middle has not gone right, but those things I brought to Him before starting in my physical life went through. I brought a vision up to God. I told him why I'm doing it. Because in that place of solitude, he told me there is a purpose for this ordeal. There is a purpose for this pain. And hey, after that crushing will comes the oil. I listened to my spirit and in agreement with my family dynamics. One of us, first of all, traveled, got what was happening there, came back, and decided I go with the kids. I went and I didn't really shut my mouth. That's why sometimes I say, don't wear the mask, because if you wear the mask, you will not be able to ask God what you need to ask Him or say what you need to say. So, as Christabel asked, yeah, we have done a whole lot and we keep blessing many women. We have been blessing those women who have gone through FGM without their consent. A lot of them have lost their self-confidence. We are blessing those women who are going through domestic violence. And again, we are not gender biased. We are blessing even men who are going through domestic violence. We are blessing women to build their confidence. We are blessing them to be able to take care of their well-being. We are getting the young girls involved. Confidence is beauty. We are working with them at a very young age, letting them know they can own their power. They can thrive. They can become whatever they want to become. All it needs is determination and dedication. So ThatNameWoman is not about feminism. It's not about the empowerment we know about. It's about being a voice to the voiceless. It's about you as a woman knowing your values, knowing the strength you have within you, tapping within them, and striving. That's all we do. We are open to whoever has lost their confidence. We are open to whoever has lost their self-esteem. Hey, you can do what you want to do. What you need to do is upgrade your talents, upgrade your gift, and give it out to somebody who needs it. Because when you get, you give. And when you learn, you teach. That's what we are doing at ThatNameWoman.
Wow.
Wow.
Hmm.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
I think we have to move
Oh
fast.
my God.
We
That
have to
got
move.
me emotional.
I mean, like I I think we have to move a little bit fast, as much as these experiences are like really kind of like touching, and as much as we want you guys to speak, I mean like your everything. I think we have to also look at the time and yeah. But before we go, I think Christopher, I just want to I'm all about business, networking, and motivation, and I've got
Mm.
the motivation already. I need to get entrepreneurship, in the entrepreneurial aspect of you guys, and also the business aspect of you guys. And this is gonna be more of like with you, Mariam. Do you have any services that you think you provide? That people watching you right now can benefit from, and how can they contact you?
What do you mean by services?
Okay, like okay, let me put it this way. Of course, in where you work, or do you have kind of like a side business, something like that, or maybe like okay, now business wise, what can you say to people who are watching you right now, who might maybe need some help? I see you are a business strategist, and how can you use that aspect? If say it is paid or not paid services, how can you use it to like help someone who is watching us right now in that field in business?
Yeah, I mean, so if someone is like having some business challenges, they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any sort of immediate question, or to point them to the right answers and that sort of thing. And practically, so I am the Chief Growth Officer at Planet, and I also founded a company with another friend of mine who's also an entrepreneur called Karita, and we run Adar Impact, which is a company that is focused on working with governments and NGOs around the world to redesign or to find technology-based solution to different sort of education problems. So many countries are doing digital transformation in their education delivery system and processes and so forth. So we advise them in that capacity. So if that's something that somebody is in the space of, we will, well, yeah, they can just send me a message on LinkedIn or send me an email. My email is pretty public, so they'll be able to find that. And for otherwise, generally, if someone is like running a business or starting a business and facing different kind of challenges, obviously it can vary what the challenge can be. So the first thing, the most basic thing of anything is just make sure that you have created something that a lot of people want to buy a lot of times. So not just your friends, not just your family. I think that's like one of the foundational things. If this is a business or a for-profit enterprise, is to make sure that you sell something that a lot of people want to buy. And sometimes it's not the thing that you enjoy. Your passion does not have to be the money maker. I think that's one of the like false assumption, in my opinion, is that the things that you are passionate about need to be your business endeavor. David was a shepherd, and then a king, but he was also a musician. You know, he was playing music for King Saul, and then later on, he was writing a lot of the Psalms. So wouldn't it have been completely a disaster if David had decided that I'm really good at music and it's my passion? God, this king thing that you're offering me is not my thing. This music is where it's at. I'm gonna be the best musician in all of Israel. That's, you know, so the thing that is like your purpose, or like the thing that is like going to make you financially sound, doesn't have to be your hobby. So if it's your hobby, whatever, essentially, if it's the fact that it's your hobby does not make it a business. So make sure that you're building a business and selling a product or service that people want to pay real money for.
Wow. Emiliene Grace, do you have something you want to tell viewer? You are a coach, you are a mentor, you are, I mean, you didn't mention that, I know that. So do you have some services that you want to like viewers to know about today?
Definitely, yes. As I said earlier, I am an entrepreneur because I'm using my gifts and talents as business. We all know that everybody have the ability to imagine something in life, and failure is something you always meet on the road to success. But we always say, when you fail forward. Meaning life is made up of 80% psychology and 20% skills. Use the skills. When you fail, get feedback from those around you to move forward. As I said before, humanity, nothing about humanity is strange to me. And I work with humans, I work with people. I am a life coach with a niche in women transformation. I am on social media everywhere, Emiliene Grace. You can inbox me if you need a one-to-one session. I do that. For those who already know, for those who don't know, I do that. But you yourself need to decide, take the responsibility to clear your mental and your physical cluster. That's the only way you can move forward. But of course, yes, I have a business. I am a life coach. I can help you to walk your journey, but I will not walk the journey for you. But I'll always be there for you when you need an accountability partner. Because as I said, whatever solution you need to your worries, your troubles, is within you. You just need to dig deep, get those potentials, and you'll be able to find solutions to all those stumbling blocks But I'll be there with you in one word. That's how I coach. I'm there with you. I will not even give you advice. I will navigate with you on how to get your mind focused and start mentalizing. Because the moment you start mentalizing, then you get a solution to your problems. You passed the level of humans that says mentalizing brings the worries. But if you keep those worries without being solved, you repress them, they will still come back. So I am your friend. I am your sister. I am a student. We are learning and we are walking the journey together. Inbox me if you have issues you want to talk about in a confidential space. Thank you.
Inbox habit also fill your pockets with some pounds, you know. Yeah, Christabel, I
Yes,
think we should take the comments, right?
yes, we must, of course, we must support um each other's hustle. I know we like a lot of job, but we have to support, show appreciation for the services, show appreciation for the time someone puts into supporting you to be your own person, to be, to live your full potential is very important to just give a token of appreciation. So I think we are almost, oh my God, my kids.
Let's get the comments,
Yeah.
Christabel, we have Paulo says, okay, I think Christabel is distracted a little bit. Let me just read. Paulo says, thank you for what you do, Mola. I pray you keep raising a man. Here from LinkedIn says, more encouragement to you guys. Penrilla says, greetings everyone. Thanks, Penrilla. Um, we have also, let me scroll down. Penrilla says, positive and confident minds. Wow, you can say that again. From Rahman, good job. Um,
Mhm.
from Christiana and Telen says, greetings, guys. Any says hi, host, hi, any. Teresa Bilola says, the irony of you guys mixes and preconceptions. I think that was when Mariam was talking about her journey back then in was it Govanyemi? She says, Teresa Bilola says, wow, that was a baptism of fire for you. Um, Also, she says, "Wow, these are really stories of standing on the soldiers of giants. Bless them." Yeah, these are giants. Yeah, from Nicole. Nicole says, "Hello, host. Hello, Nicole." She also said, "Good evening." Yeah, good evening too, Benjamin. Christabel. Okay, that was when she was. Christabel, you commented on your own show. Okay, that's
I'm
awesome.
commenting on my own show. I try to
Yeah,
let people know what is happening through WhatsApp
yeah.
and no hours. I said, let me put it on the show and see.
Mako explain his greetings from Honorable Obiwe. He says, awesome. Perila says, listening takes me to my own journey. Still on it though.
Oh, wow.
That's powerful. We have
Mm.
Eden from LinkedIn. She says, we see you. Georgia Forsang says, hello, people. Hi, Mariam. Um, uh, she says, hi, sis Emmy. Wow, I'm learning so much. Please don't stop. We have to stop.
We have to stop.
You just says you ladies are nailing it. Of course, they are nailing it, and I've been blessed listening. I think, Benjamin, what do you think about? I mean, about today?
No, today has been amazing. Just that I'm a little bit sad that I missed a huge chunk of their experiences. But then the last part of it has been usually impactful for me, and I believe that for others. Like I actually was feeling emotional, and to just listen to their journeys and how they stood firm that no matter the challenges, they would move over it and still be the people that they want to be for their lives and the society and their loved ones. So I am so impressed by both of them, and they inspire me so much. And I believe that they also inspire a lot of people that have watched today or that will watch the show after this. So, ladies, keep going, keep doing it, keep inspiring us, keep giving that women the confidence that they need, that they can do it, that they too can do it. And so today I say to myself that if Emiliene, Grace, and Mariam can do it, so I too can do it. So
Wow.
thank you so much. It was amazing having you guys here.
Wow. I mean, I must confess, Emiliene Grace has been an inspiration in my own personal life. I remember her giving me 50 euros back then when I consider myself as nothing. And that money, it took me almost 3 months, like I had to, yeah. So, to her it was nothing, but to me it was a big deal. I remember that day I had nothing. I didn't have any food to eat. I just went to visit her, and she said, "Stan, I don't have anything. Just take this 50 euro." And it was like 500 euros to me. I was like, "Wow," you know. So thanks so much. You have been an inspiration. You are still an inspiration to all of us, especially me. And having you here on this particular show that you like that this platform that we all started with you also motivating me to keep on my dreams. And here we are with you, having you as a guest on this thing, this platform. So I'm happy to have you here today. And if I want to speak, maybe I might cry. I'm not used to crying, yeah. So
Daddy, don't start. Just laughing.
uh,
Just keep laughing. Just
yeah.
keep laughing, Roberto. Oh,
Wow.
thank you so much, spectacular ladies. Like I called you from the very beginning. Mariam, thank you so much. Amazing, amazing journey and powerful accomplishments. Emilienne, Grace, thank you so much. Amazing journey. And that your accomplishments are so powerful. So what else can we say? We call it a wrap. And if you have one word for our audience, one word of advice, what would that be, Emilienne Gray?
First of all, I would say thank you, Betong, and thank you, man, Christopher, for putting yourself to the value of the people. And the challenges were very many in Finland, meaning that sometimes we were really naked going to work, raising a family, and going to school. But what happened is that I want to tell you who is watching that there must come a time in your life where you must rise. You must stand in your own power and avoid sabotage, either internal sabotage or external sabotage. The right way to do that is to make the voice in your head more positive and avoid negative energy. Home is anywhere, Finland or no Finland. If you're there, you don't need to rely only on the 9 to 5 jobs. You can align with your purpose and make it big where you are, meaning in this context, Finland. Thank you.
Thank you. Mariam, one word for our audience.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a honor that you asked me. I'm so fortunate and blessed that you invited me here today. And you could be watching Netflix. You're here listening to this. So thank you so much. Thank you for the wonderful platform, the Debitong and Christabel that you've created here. You're doing phenomenal work. And Grace, it has been I mean, so wonderful to hear your story and your journey, and it is one that also that greatly inspires, because also there comes a time when enough is enough, and one must pick up the tent and go pitch it in more fertile, more conducive soil. So, you know, the same God who told Abraham to move from his father's land also told him and told his offsprings to not go down to Egypt, but stay in the land where they are, even in a time of famine. So it's very important to recognize which season God has set for each of us. And I think that my advice to the audience will just come from your story, Grace, and your insight that you shared is know what season the Lord has set for you. The fact that everyone is doing it in a certain way does not mean that you have to do it in that way. Does not mean that that way is the path that has been set for you, because we're all unique and our individual journeys are unique. Different soil for different plants. The same water that is too much for one, it's just enough for another, and it's not enough for even the other. So that's sort of the lesson. Know what is the will of God for you, what is the right plan for you that fits the overarching end goal that you have been created for, and be bold, be audacious. There's no gain in playing small. There's no gain in it at all. If you're going to suffer for what matters. You know, suffer for big stuff. Don't suffer for little things. Take the pain for gains that are going to be worth it. Yeah.
Wow, the beton. We call it a wrap.
Wow. Thanks, Mariam. Thanks, Emiliene. Hopefully, we see you guys here soon to maybe pick it up, like from where you left it. Maybe we go deeper, but you know we have to go today. And so far, Mr. Bet, thanks for hosting this program with me here today. And also, we want to give a shout out to our other host, Dr. Elizabeth Eta. You know,
Yeah.
we have 3 hosts for this program, and
I'm getting.
yeah, and viewers, thanks also. Over to you, Christabel, before we go.
Hello.
Over to you, Christabel.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, me and my technical problems.
Okay,
Okay,
anyway,
thank
viewers,
you
guys,
so much.
let's
Yes.
call it a go for today, and bye-bye to
Yes,
everyone.
bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you
Hi,
so
my name
much.
is Reggie Rusan. My company is Simple Tech Solution. We help companies become GDPR compliant. GDPR stands for the General Data Protection Regulation, which took effect this year in May. I have a Finnish business partner that speaks Swedish, so we are able to provide services in Finnish, Swedish, and in English, so we cover the Finnish population quite well. I started my company here because I had spent 30 years in the corporate world, and when I moved to Finland, I decided I wanted a different challenge. Investigated starting a business and found that it was quite easy to do so. It's well documented, and you can get lots of good expertise and advice from the Finnish entrepreneurs societies.
Have you been wondering how to take your business to another level? Well, worry no more. I am here to tell you about an online shopping center. Everyone's Choice. Everyone's Choice is a platform where businessmen and women come to advertise their products. On this platform, you can buy, sell your products. On this platform, we have products of all varieties. So do not forget to visit our website. Do not forget to visit our Facebook page, and you will not regret. On Online Shopping Center, shopping makes easy.
Run away so fast, run away, you can't even look back.